If you haven't heard about Anchor, it's the easiest way to make a podcast. Let me explain. First and foremost, it's free. Then there are creation tools that allow you to record and edit your podcast right from your phone or computer. Anchor will distribute your podcast for you so it can be heard on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and many more. You can make money from your podcast with no minimum listenership. It's everything you need to make a podcast in one place. Download the free Anchor app or go to anchor.fm to get started. That's ANCHOR.FM. Anchor.fm to get started. What's up, fellas? Happy MLK Day. Good
What's
to
good,
see
brothers?
you. Good to be in your presence. How y'all feeling?
Man, I met a Karen yesterday.
Mm.
Yeah,
Mm.
I'm trying to have a meal, and before that, the only interaction was like a hello, because me and the guy that was with her spoke briefly about football. He had a Bama hat on. We got on the SEC high horse almighty bromance for a second, and then she just was like, it's not all about Black Lives Matter. Like
Random?
Race doesn't even exist.
Random?
I was not even talking to her, and we definitely were not talking about race. She started to feel her liquor, I think. And so I was like, I played with her a little bit. I was like, I feel you to some extent. Funny how we never used race before 1200, right? That junk went right over her head. She had no idea what I was talking about. She just kept. What I realize about certain Karens is that they feel like if they close their eyes and talk louder, the world is going to conform because they're so passionately angry about what they think is unfair. And she's very upset that there is about to be socialism that takes away the way of her life, her way of life.
So then to not have been there with you, right? Paint the picture. What is her gripe?
She never got to anything specific outside of, do you really want socialism? That's the closest she came to anything specific. And I asked her, what, besides the commercials, what do you really know about socialism? Like, I mean, what are the traits of socialism? And she was like, but you're trying to be all smart. And her husband was trying to, shut her up. Woman, I am the man. And look, as the head, I need for you to shut up right now. You sound
It
like
got to that? It got to that?
Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, he's like, I know your problem. Just shut up. I mean, he was just, because when I tell you, the conversation had nothing to do about race. So whenever she bubbled back up with, why does race always matter? Why are we always talking about race? She's looking at me asking me this. And her guy is sitting between. And I'm like, I don't know. You're the one that keeps asking.
I mean, to answer your question, Carl,
and it went over her head. She didn't catch that. She's the one talking about race. We're watching football and talking about it.
What say you, Mo?
To answer your question about what her gripe is, even if she can't articulate what it is they don't want, certain white people don't want to be confronted with the reality that there's racism in this country, and there's inherent racism in almost every sector and fabric and being of this country. And when confronted with it, dog, they're just uncomfortable with the discussion that they want to have. Like, think about what she says to Craig. She says to him, there is no such thing as race. By saying that, you're acknowledging that there is such a thing as race. You're acknowledging that you're not just talking to a human being when you're talking to Craig right now. You're acknowledging that you're talking to a black man.
Especially when the black man never brought it up.
Yeah, but how are you going to convince someone who's affected by his race every day that there's no such thing as race? That's
Right.
it's ignorant, and the only purpose it serves is to make her feel comfortable about herself. So when she turns on the news, like dog, they don't get furious about the Capitol building, but Kaepernick taking a knee, they get furious about. It's because they want to watch the game and not be confronted with these things. They want to live their life and not be confronted with things.
It's low key idolatry, but who am I?
When it's a black person's reality in this country, you have to deal with race.
All right, well, we'll come back to it. Got a lot to talk about today. Inauguration is around the corner. So before we get into the rest of our evening, a couple housekeeping items from last week. It's important that you keep your house clean. We talked about Boys to Men and what happened with them. And so Mike McCary, he did have scoliosis. That was part of the physical impediments he had with performing. And money in a roundabout way actually became an issue. But it seems that, it's life more than anything else. And so there's a lot of love with the group in terms of man to man, brotherhood and so forth. But it wasn't meant for them to be a foursome forever. Another little item talked about Bridgerton, wonderful Netflix show. I stand behind my pick. It took place in 1813 London. And also, for anybody listening today, tomorrow, next year, when we on our umpteenth, 100th episode, we love everybody. So regardless of what we say, articulate about what somebody chooses to do, say, live, or be called, we may not understand it all and may have a whole bunch of questions, but from our hearts to yours, from our hearts to yours, we love you.
Humanity over everything.
Any other housekeeping?
I don't love no racist or no bigot.
I got love in my heart because I
that's Carlton.
One day they may see the light, and depending on that day, maybe I can help be part of that. Maybe I'll be that light. Needless to say, we do our best. All right, so sports, NBA hot, NFL hot.
Man,
had a good NFL weekend. How we feeling about our
turnovers?
I mean, what game?
Where you want to start? Brady, Breeze.
I mean, Breeze looks old, man. It's over for Breeze. Like, he looked old.
And they both looked old.
Yeah, but not the way Breeze looks old. Craig, Breeze has an inability that doesn't allow him to, in my mind, he can't play anymore. Because Tampa, you know what Tampa realized? We'll just sit on the sticks. He can't beat us by throwing on the field. He can't drive the ball. Brady can still throw the ball down the field, so you have to respect that. Breeze couldn't, so they sat on everything, and they couldn't beat him, man. They couldn't beat him. He had no answer for that. Michael Thomas had 0 catches.
I think we also look for, I think that's big. I think we often look for breakout players in these times, but I think maybe the breakout unit right now might be that Tampa Bay defense. I enjoyed watching them. That corner, what them corners did were great.
See, the thing is, like, I agree with you, but in this next game against Green Bay, they're not going to be able to sit at the sticks like that. Like, Rodgers can beat you over the top playing so good. Like, Tampa can't win that game the way they beat New Orleans. They're going to have to score points because he's not going to turn over the ball 3 times. I don't see him throwing 3 interceptions against anybody right now. So
you talking about?
They're going to have.
Oh, you talking about
Rodgers. Do you see him throwing 3 interceptions in this game?
I see Rodgers. I see Green Bay winning. I see Tom going to Green Bay and losing.
I look at it. Rodgers, to me, faced the NFL's top defense entering in the playoffs, and he did them boys good. So Tampa's defense isn't that. And so I agree with you, Mo. I think, Green Bay, Tampa will have to score. Green Bay is going to score, If Tampa wants to have a chance, Tampa has to score. And so, we'll see what Brady got left.
I mean, I think it's
I like the
dangerous
story,
to
but
underestimate Brady because, like that's the live thing about Brady, man. Whether you love him or you hate him, he goes into New Orleans, he takes on Breeze, right? And this is a quarterback from his era that has, they're 1 and 2 for all these records, right? Touchdown,
they're sharing
passes.
awards.
And Brady just goes in there in his stadium and ends his career like it's a wrestling match or something.
Oh, they did hurt my feelings a little bit. I
And
knew
Brady
somebody
goes
had to
in
lose.
there. Yeah, but he's a killer. He goes in there and
Yeah,
it's just like, let's stomp on his heart, get this guy out of here. And now, Craig, everyone's gonna say, like, I agree with what you're saying. Like, Aaron Rodgers got him. Green Bay's gonna whoop them. I heard a dude say they're gonna win by double digits for sure.
I don't know if I go that far.
And that's when Brady, to me, is most dangerous. Like,
yeah, man. Ask Atlanta about it. You could talk about them avocado
I think,
ice cream sandwiches all you want. Them things.
And we've seen
they
Rodgers
feed a killer
in the NFC Championship game be heavily favored and lose, man. We saw Eli Manning walk into Lambeau and beat Aaron Rodgers.
Because Eli a bad boy, man. Everybody hate on my giant Eli. Eli a bad boy.
It's possible. I think it's just.
I think it's gonna be tough. I agree.
I think there's an anti-bias going on for me anyway.
An anti-bias?
Yeah, explain.
It's like a second degree bias. It's kind of indirect. I think it kind of comes when you get sick of somebody. You know what I mean? Like,
is this undercover hate or is it different than? Is this different than undercover hate or?
See, Doc, Brady to me is more stomachable now because he's not on the Patriots. I feel.
Yeah, it's nothing against Brady the guy though. I don't have anything against Brady the guy. Just like I just think that.
Craig just want to fuck Giselle. That's why he likes Brady the
guy. I'm cheering for Brady, man. I hated on him for so long.
I kind of low-key, I do like the idea of him of being the guy to play possibly your last game, a Super Bowl that's a home game. You know what I'm saying? Or just even being a part of the team that plays in the first home Super Bowl. Like, that's kind of dope on the, you know what I mean? So
I mean,
I love a good story.
Yeah. I think the most entertaining game you could get though is Green Bay and Kansas City. To see Rodgers playing like this against Mahomes in the Super Bowl, I think would be spectacular. But the Brady Mahomes story would be good too.
You sound confident about Mahomes.
The wrench is Buffalo. Is Buffalo. Is Mahomes gonna play? That's the key here.
Right. And what do we know? Do we have any Monday
protocol?
No, there's a stage by stage set of protocols he has to go through, and they're in the early part of it. Last news thing I heard was nothing new.
Right.
If fucking Chad Henne is starting, Buffalo's going to the Super Bowl. If Chad Henne is under center for the Kansas City Chiefs, Buffalo's going to the Super Bowl.
Well, Buffalo, their fans have suffered through a lot, but they also are a gracious group of fans in terms of how they show love for their team, but they show love for other people. They donated to Lamar Jackson's charity.
Oh, yeah. That's so dope, man.
That's classy.
Bad for him for getting that concussion.
That's real classy, right?
Much respect to the Bills Mafia, man.
Yeah, much respect, much love.
I gotta look.
I never want to go to Buffalo though. I don't know if that's disrespectful, but
I mean, I'm willing to bet.
Say you don't want to go there.
I'm willing to bet they understand. I'm willing to bet they might understand.
It's like I met this Ohio group, and I'm like, yo, besides visiting X Hall of Fame, I don't have a reason to ever want to go to your city. It's like, look, if I didn't make so much money there, I wouldn't go back either. That was pretty much it. And this is a dude that's
honesty.
Yeah, like he's been there his whole life. He's like 60 plus. He's just like, look, man. Only reason I'm there. He's like, we get it. It's not like Las Vegas. You know what I mean?
So then what about Lamar Jackson? Didn't end the game on his feet, unfortunately. Pray everything is okay there. But what's his future?
I mean, his future's
Man.
fine. I mean, Baltimore's going to re-sign Lamar Jackson, and he's going to get the max.
What year is this guy in? Come on.
You can't judge him on his passing when they don't have anybody for him to throw the ball to. Like, who is he? You know what the difference between Josh Allen is and Lamar Jackson? Stephon Diggs. Josh Allen has the Diggs, and Lamar Jackson has Hollywood Brown, who's beyond overrated, man. Like, that is the big difference. Lamar Jackson's believer is a big, slow, plodding tight end, Mark Andrews. They need to get him somebody to throw the ball to. They should go hard after. You know who they should go after, Carl? Your boy from Detroit is a free agent, Kenny Golladay. They should go after Kenny Golladay.
Okay. You're the second person I heard him say that today.
They should go after Kenny Golladay.
That he's the one to go for.
Kenny Golladay.
It seems he's ready to get up out of Detroit. Yeah.
He needs a Shockey-esque person in his life, I think.
I don't think it's hard to convince him to I don't think it's hard to convince people to leave Detroit.
And I do enjoy a trip to Detroit, though. I will say that. I do enjoy a trip to Detroit. All right, so who else stood out? The Browns didn't get over the hump. But
yeah, I was rooting for them, but I was definitely wrong about that. I got to eat that one.
But once Mahomes went out, they had a chance. The game was accessible before it wasn't.
It wasn't enough running to me.
I mean, the game comes down to championship teams make big plays when they need it. The Browns have critical plays in this game. Craig, did you see the play where Buddy fumbles trying to go into the end zone and the ball out the end zone for a touchback? Like, dude, the score in the game right there is 16-3. If he gets that, they get the extra point at 16-10. They don't get the 7 points. Kansas City gets the ball. They go down. They get a field goal. So instead of 16-10 at the half, it's 19-3. That is – what is that? That's a 10-point – that's a critical swing in that game. That's a critical swing in the game. And then when Chad Henne's garbage ass comes into the game, right, this lollipop interception up that looks like a fair catch punt. Chad Henne sucks. They get the interception. They have the ball, 8 minutes to go. You're down 5. Here you go, Cleveland. You trying to get to the Super Bowl?
You play to win the game.
What do they do, Craig? They go 3 and out.
They did not play to win the game.
3 and out. Dog, you know what I want to talk about a play in this game too. 4th and 1, Kansas City has the ball, minute and 15 seconds left in the game.
Okay.
Cleveland has no timeouts. Andy Reid doesn't punt the ball. He not only does he go for it, he lets Chad Henne throw the ball to Tyreek Hill to ice the game.
And that was out of shotgun on top of that, right?
But I'm gonna say I don't agree with this play call. I think it's a dumbass play.
Onions. Bruh. Requires onions.
Bruh.
It requires onions. I just don't think it's a smart play. I don't like if he punts the ball, right, and they down it inside the 10, they have to go 90 yards with a minute and 10 seconds.
Yes.
I don't see that happening. But dog,
he was
if
that
he doesn't
confident.
Get that 4th down, they have the ball at the 50-yard line with a minute 15.
Andy Reid said, "I'm ready to go."
Confidence.
And I agree
Momentum
with you.
is real,
obviously,
man.
Props because it worked. But I think we can't judge the decision because it worked. We need to judge the decision solely based on the decision. You know what I'm saying? Like, and to me, the decision was dumb. I didn't agree with that decision.
That would have even been a Madden no.
I'd say risky. Yes. Hey, man, turnovers in every game was a big deal, bro.
Oh, yeah. I mean, the New Orleans game was solely the turnovers. Like you said, Brady didn't even play that well. But New Orleans turns the ball over 4 times. Tampa doesn't turn it over at all. Hey, man, that Tampa linebacker, Devin White, that boy's nice, man. That boy, Carlton.
Shout out to that corner, though.
He looked like Derek Brooks out there.
Ooh.
Wow, that's a big shout out.
I am a Derek Brooks fan.
He recovered the fumble. He got the interception, and he was flying from sideline to sideline, dropping them boys, man. He was impressive. Yeah, the corner was nice too, Craig. Tampa's defense just played well.
Yeah.
Tampa's defense just played well.
It's a brother with a hyphenated name.
Speaking of brothers, man, shout out to Eric Bieniemy. You might never get a head coaching job, bro. Just keep trying, man.
I don't think anything that's worthy of him is out there right now. I think the good ones got scooped up.
I wouldn't take the Houston job.
Houston
Even
smells like sewage.
Job, I would turn it down.
Houston, there's something fishy going on, and I'm a layperson, and I could tell something ain't right.
Houston's dysfunctional.
Houston, we have a problem.
I think as a first-time head coach, especially someone in his position, you should be picky about the job you take. And to me, the Houston job is the worst job, which is crazy to say because they have Deshaun Watson, but he don't want to be there anymore. So,
well, let's play a game. What's a good job for Eric Bieniemy, whether it's taken or not? Where would we see him with the chance to have good success?
Me personally, dog, I thought the Chargers were going to give him the job. Like that doesn't. The Chargers hire of Staley from the Rams, who's the defensive coordinator, is the one that baffles me when it comes to Bieniemy. Okay, you have a young quarterback in Herbert. Okay. You wouldn't want the offensive coordinator that helped mold Mahomes? That's one. 2, Staley's was the defensive coordinator for the Rams for 1 year. Bieniemy's been doing this for years. So if you want experience, Bieniemy has the experience.
Mm-hmm.
It doesn't make sense to me why they went with the defensive guy that has a lack of experience when they have a young quarterback, and Bieniemy seems like the perfect fit for that team.
I kind of like him in Philly. I'm just saying to get that out before I forget, but I think you made great points. I just kind of like him in Philly. Looking at their quarterback situation and the culture thing they got going on there, but I will also say this. I heard today somebody make a point in regards to it not being fair for the guys that are currently still coaching in the championships, right? Because they can't get to interview properly, put together a staff properly. So, like, the hiring should probably start after
the
all
season.
Football is done being played.
Mm-hmm.
That being said, back to my idea with him in Philly, I believe he has that background with quarterbacks 1 and 2, just looking at kind of what they need there, and they have options and the kind of football fans that they have there. I think he'd be a great fit.
See, if I was Bieniemy, I wouldn't want the Philly job though. I feel like they're dysfunctional as an organization. As evidenced by the last time we saw them on the field with that fuckery. And then fire Peterson after that.
Do you feel the person responsible is still there then? Is that what you're saying?
Howie Roseman. Yeah, the general manager's still there. And, he's a Florida Gator. And, I hate to say it, but he's fucking shit up. He's fucking shit up. For all of you out there that don't know, we all went to Florida.
Go Gators.
What about your boy Urban? What about your boy Urban getting a Jacksonville job?
They went with it.
Urban should come with expiration date, because in 2025 he's gonna have like a heart attack. He's gonna fall out. He's gonna be stressed. He's gonna be over.
Urban should be the new slang word for finesse.
He's gonna have like a Tiger Woods scandal where he's cheating on his wife and he's got to go. Something's going to happen where Urban has to leave Duval, man, because Urban's not going to be there for the long run. But, dog, in the short term, you can't knock Urban. Urban wins. That's what Urban does. Urban wins.
And
that is a true statement everywhere.
And he's about to pick Trevor Lawrence.
Remember 90s hip-hop Lord
Finesse? He's about
Finesse?
to have the power to he's got to have the power to pick whatever players he wants. They're not giving him $12 million a year for nothing, but yeah,
He's
I mean,
really
dog,
getting
for
that. It
Jacksonville,
was important for him to one up Chucky, huh?
I mean, Chucky has a Super Bowl at this level, but Urban's a proven winner, man. This is what I'm saying about Bieniemy, and I told Carlton this like earlier in the week. Do I think part of the reason that he hasn't been hired is because he's black? Absolutely. Do I think another part of the reason is people I look at him and the perception, whether this is true or not, is he's not calling the plays. Andy Reid is calling the plays. Now, Peterson in Philadelphia got the job with that perception, but Peterson is white. And Craig, you were saying like people are saying it's because of teams are still in the playoffs that might be hurting Bieniemy. But dog, look what happened. The Rams lost. They hired their defensive coordinator the next day. As soon as New Orleans lost, Detroit hired Dan Campbell from New Orleans, who isn't even a coordinator. He's not even a coordinator, and he gets the job. But my man Eric Bieniemy has a Super Bowl, has been the leader of the offensive coordinator of the number one offense years in a row, and he can't seem to get a sniff.
Yo, but does he even want to leave? Is it really that serious for him?
Huh?
I mean, I think that would be a good question, right? Like he's got a good situation, and as Mo said, clearly at jobs that are more attractive for a coach or soon to be or wanting to be head coach. But if you coaching Patrick Mahomes, you learning under Andy Reid, you winning, you potentially got rings in the future, maybe you do bide your time. I don't know. I have not sat in the seat of an NFL offensive coordinator, so I don't know how comfortable it is or isn't.
I don't think he should rush for any job, but for the right.
Right. Right. Especially if they don't want him.
But dog, my real point to you here is why doesn't Eric Bieniemy have his pick of jobs? Like Eric Bieniemy at this point should be picking the jobs, and you're watching people that are less qualified than him, that don't have his resume, get jobs.
Right.
Well, and the only logical conclusion that you could come up with really at the end of the day is he's black. Is he black? Like what else could it be to justify why he doesn't have a head coaching job?
Well, you mentioned one perception of his role, right? That would change his ability to have his choice. The opportunity,
and if I'm being honest, I have that perception.
Right. So, we'll see. I think,
but dog,
Eric Bieniemy, if ever you hear our voices, we support you. Keep doing your thing. Don't take the Houston job. I wouldn't say Detroit. Eagles. That's something.
And I think he played in Philly too, right? Something.
But Carlton, my perception, right? Even with Andy Reid, let's say you believe that Andy Reid is calling the plays, right? And Eric Bieniemy just helps him with the game plan and he assists with the offense or whatever, right?
Mm-hmm.
He's still doing more than Dan Campbell for the Saints who got the Lions job.
But do you want the Detroit Lions job? Do you want the Detroit Lions job?
No, it's irrelevant if it's the Lions job. My point to you is it doesn't seem to matter what Eric Bieniemy's accolades are or what his resume is when a guy like Dan, you know why they said they hired Dan Campbell? Not because he's an X's and O's guy, Carlton, because he's a unifier. And he's gonna motivate.
Unifier.
Enter the shock face emoji. That's what you got right now. The shock face emoji.
I'm not telling you whether I know Dan Campbell, whether he's gonna be a good coach or a bad coach. But
he might surprise
I don't know. I don't know any black people in America that are getting hired to $1 million positions because they're unifiers of people. When it should be on merit.
That sounds like a buzzword.
Bieniemy's merit seems to be better.
Euphemistic to me.
I just feel bad for Eric Bieniemy, man, because on his merit, his resume seems to be better than some of these people that we are seeing get hired. Now, if you ask me whose resume is better, Eric Bieniemy or Urban Meyer, I give you that, dog. I'll take Urban Meyer. Okay. I'm with you.
Okay.
But Dan Campbell, Brandon Staley, who are these jabrones? Like, why should they have jobs
NFL head
over
coaches?
Eric Bieniemy? Who are these scrubs?
All right. Well, switching subjects. This has been top of mind for me in particular today. A lot of basketball on today.
Okay.
What is going on with the NBA uniforms? I can't keep up anymore. The teams, I don't recognize the teams. Did I miss something?
Money.
Yeah,
Did I miss something?
The more jerseys they make, the more jerseys they can sell, the more money they'll make. But what these are that you're seeing are city edition jerseys. They're meant to represent the cities that, like, for example, the Hawks are wearing MLK jerseys today.
Right. I saw that. But the Magic had on white and orange. They look like the Knicks. The Knicks look like the Magic.
Yeah, the Magic's alternate jerseys, white and orange. It's garbage. I hate it.
It must be too much at the same time. It's a lot of change. You know, the Heat, I'm a Heat fan. I like the blue uniforms. It's just when I turn my TV on and I think I'm watching the Heat, it gets confusing. And so I just thought maybe there was an NBA uniform transition that I missed.
No, money.
The Heat got that teal.
Oh, it's clean now. It's clean. It's just it's outside of the traditional color wheel. And I know they do it, but then it looks like they just reinvented the color wheel for their teams. And so I just had to throw that out there. What else popping in the NBA? Harden to the Nets.
Yo, it's firepower.
Harden to the. They should stop wasting time and stop risking people's health and just go right to the Lakers against the Nets in the final.
You think? You for certain?
I mean, look,
it's not even worth it.
Firepower to contend with all of a sudden on one team. That's a lot of firepower.
You know I'm not a Harden fan, but Harden as your second best player next to Durant, I mean, that's serious. And then Kyrie's like your third best player in this triangle, dog. This is crucial.
It's all about how they move the ball after that. Otherwise than that, there's definite firepower, more defense than they're being given credit for. Like, if they're locked in, right? You know, you have a guy that's always locked in, a guy that's selective, and a guy that I don't even know about. But look, they have so much firepower and the offensive geniuses on the bench to help put it all together. It's a lot of potential there. I'm not on the bandwagon, but I can't help but watch.
Oh, he's on the bandwagon.
Am I denying?
As long as Kyrie and Harden realize at the end of the game that the ball is in Durant's hands, they'll be fine. They'll be fine. When it's money time, give the ball to Durant and get out of the way, man. Like, he is the best player on the team. Like, they need to recognize that. It's almost like when Wade did in Miami, where he was like, basically like, LeBron, you're the best player on the team. You know, you got to do what you got to do. Like, they need to establish that early on, because if at the end of the games they have Harden dribbling 24 seconds of the shot clock and then taking step backs, that's not going to work.
I think in the first game, hopefully we saw a morsel of fraction of that coming, because Harden, in many other situations at the end of that game where he shared the ball, passed it to KD, who eventually passed it himself, he would have usually taken the step back for the game winner there.
Yeah.
And he chose to ante that up. So, and KD could have easily taken that. I've seen him hit that runner. I've seen him hit a step back there, a pull up. I've seen him shoot over guys that height without even dribbling. Like, he could have legitimately taken that shot too. Instead, he passed it off. So, look, I'm a fan of ball and player movement. You know, part of the reason my biggest pet peeves in basketball is, outside of that, is effort and defense. But I'm all about ball and player movement also. And so if you hear me complain about our players, because they probably come up short in one of them categories. But if that's what they're doing in terms of moving the ball, that's a dangerous squad, because multiple guys can create and shoot from multiple spaces and places, and multiple guys can draw double teams, and then create for others. You got three guys that could do that with relative ease, or in a screen game. Oh my God. That screen game between Harden and KD was savage.
The reason why
Excuse
it
me?
could work too, the reason why it could work is the same reason why it worked in Golden State. It's Durant, dog. Durant is so efficient. He doesn't need 30 shots to get 40 points. He could get you 40 points on 18 shots. So he doesn't even need the ball that much. He is that efficient. He could play with other people that need the ball. It's just like I said, at the end of the game, the ball to me needs to be in Durant's hands. And if it's not in Durant's hands, it should be in Kyrie's hands. Harden's currently fat ass should be the last option at the end of the game. That's what I'm trying to say. He should be the last option. Craig,
He'll have his sexy back by playoffs. That's what I'm
Craig,
guessing.
you didn't start your thing, man.
Huh?
You didn't start your.
Hey, man.
I'm not mentioning what the thing is.
All right, so it's MLK Day. Oh, so it's MLK Day. It's MLK Day. Lots going on in our country. Since when we last got together, our focus, what we talked about were the Senate race elections for Georgia. Congratulations to Georgia for doing a great job. People showing up left, right, however you play it, change is happening. So shout out there. But before we could even begin to embrace what that news was, we had filling your blank at the Capitol. Insurgents, protest, riot, attack, terror,
all of the above.
However you choose to receive what you saw.
And other.
And so subsequent, there's talk about the inauguration, Biden's inauguration, having some potential risk for more activity. So it's MLK Day. How are you all feeling about January 20th? We gonna be all right?
Yes. It's the changing of the guard in sports, in politics, in every way. I'm here for it. I think people have called themselves out. I don't think things are going to happen to the scale that they happened on January 6th. I do think there might be things that try to pop off, but I do think a transfer of power will happen. To be, I don't know if peace was going to be the word, but it has not been stopped. It won't be stopped, and I'm okay with it. I'm here for the change. It's like I was telling Karen, after 9 comes 0. You got to deal with the change. No matter what, the cycle starts over. On the clock, after 12 comes 1. It just, no matter what, the cycle starts over, and you got to deal with it. You know what I mean? And I'm here for it. I'm not fearful of the inauguration or a catastrophe happening around the inauguration. I might wind up sounding hella naive in 3 days. Who knows? But no, I'm here for it. Changing of the guard, man.
Yeah. No matter what happens on that day, unless something, happens to him in terms of his health, he's going to be president no matter what. Craig is absolutely right on that. But of course they should move forward with the inauguration. You can't be scared to move forward. It just, what the best thing Congress did that day of the Capitol riot? They came back into session and they certified the Electoral College.
Mm-hmm.
Like, you can't be scared. Like,
they did not let the insurgency win.
Yeah, fear is like spinach to Popeye to these people. It'll only motivate them to keep going. So they were absolutely right in that. Carlton, am I worried about an attack on that day? No. But am I worried about future attacks? Yes. I mean, Kamaria, my wife, has been saying you'd have to be a dumbass to go there right now. I mean, the military's out there. They're sleeping in the Capitol. Like, you're going to get laid out if you go there.
You mean you would have to be out your mind to run up on them at this point in time? That's what she means.
Yes.
Okay.
I don't think, I think they're ready for you at this point. You know what I mean? So, but for years, they've been saying that white nationalism is the greatest threat to this country's security. And
Right.
Trump has not only completely ignored this warning, he has fanned the flames and made it an even greater threat than it was before, because he's emboldened these people and they really believe it's their country and they need to take it back, and it's 1776 and all this nonsense, man. And that's the danger in Trump. Like, that is in our lifetime, fellas, we've seen Republicans become presidents. We were never worried the way we were with Trump. I mean,
Because he's not Republican. Donald Trump is Donald Trump, and he represents Donald Trump. And he's whether it's him, a team, he knows how to play what he's choosing to play. And for him, it's power, it's position, it's being able to, portray to the world that I'm Donald Trump. And so he has people who now support him in that, and they may inadvertently vote Republican, but if he created his own party, if he did something else, they would go that route because they walked into the Capitol looking for Mike Pence.
Okay. Here's what I like about what happened. He's called out and put on Front Street and helped put on blast even more so a lot of this. And I feel like he did it at strategically the wrong time. It's like when you got a brilliant plan in chess, but you move that piece out there too early, it gets taken and everything falls to shreds, right?
Shout out to Queen's Gambit.
You know what I mean? I think, yeah. I think they are on blast at the worst possible time in history for them. And I think that NRA smells it. Not that they're necessarily directly associated with them, but people are restructuring and readjusting and fixing allegiances as a result of this. People could spend their money differently and move differently politically because he helped shed light on, like, just by who's associated with him.
And fuck the NRA. The NRA is not interested in your gun rights, people, and your Second Amendment rights. They're interested in fattening their pockets. I don't understand why these people let people take advantage of them in this. Like, even Trump, Trump goes around and he tells people there was fraud in this election and all this nonsense. Carlton, you know how much money he's raised for his defense of this? It's like over $250 million. And this money's going to go right into his pocket.
He does get to keep it.
Yeah, because he's not asking you for campaign contributions. He's asking you for money towards his defense fund. And we know he's not going to pay Giuliani. I know y'all saw that. He told them to stiff him on the payment. Like, he said, don't pay Giuliani.
Well, he has a reputation of stiffing people. He's hardly ever honored a word.
Dog, this is what I would like to say to, like, some portions of white America that have a lower socioeconomic status. He spent his whole life stiffing you folks. He's built his empire by ripping off small businesses and claiming bankruptcy. He would never sit down at the table with you. He would never have you at his seat. And y'all vote for him blindly. Y'all don't even treat him like a man anymore. He's almost like a god to y'all. Whatever he says to do, y'all go out there and you follow. And this man couldn't give two shits about you. He couldn't give two shits about you. As a matter of fact, when he was watching the insurgents, did you see this part, fellas, where he told people he was embarrassed by the guy in the Viking hat and the pajama pants? Because that's not the kind of
he
people
went all in, didn't he? He went all in. Yeah. If you're gonna do it, you got to do it, and the Viking uniform is doing it. So what's next for Trump? Let me ask that. So we agree he will not be president in a few days. Does he fade to black, fade to orange, or does he buy a news network and we deal with him for the next 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 years to come?
He's eventually gonna get boxed out to the fringe. New Republican leadership will emerge. He might make a third-party push, but I don't know how strong it'll be.
So we're not going to be trumped forever, is what you're saying, Craig.
No, he's not going away. Don't be.
No, he's not going away, but
okay.
And we'll be hearing his voice, I think, for a little bit, but I don't. And as far as going down in the political American U.S. history, he's gonna be a one-off kind of guy.
Yeah,
he's gonna be an aberration in the end. He helps spark. He's gonna help spark a lot of change. I think the last 90 to 100 days of the Trump presidency might make one of the most compelling miniseries ever. When you start going through some of the stuff that happened in December with who all got fired and all that, I stand by that. I think the last 120 days of the Trump presidency, if you make a movie about the decisions made and the outcomes of those, like the butterfly effect from them things, I'm not saying we're going to love the guy. I don't expect that. I think that's going to be compelling in the long run. He's going to make for a great story, but as far eventually he's going to be the Tim Tebow of presidents. Otherwise, no disrespect to Tim Tebow, good college quarterback, but as far as going with the reputation, right?
Trump, in history, he will go down as probably the worst president in American history. Because history, when it looks back on things, it is a fairer judge than people of the current time. Like, for example, today's MLK Day, and everyone today, sings MLK's praises and nonviolence and all this stuff, which he deserves. He deserves his roses, But back then, he was like the most hated man in America. Like, Hoover said he was the most dangerous Negro in America. White people hated him. He was arrested numerous times. But, history looks back upon what he did and is courageous. History will look back on Trump and view him as the worst president in history. What he's going to do currently, Carlton, he's going to go into media so he can make millions of dollars. Somebody's going to pay him millions of dollars to have a show. I do not believe he's going to run again. I just don't see that. Like, I just don't believe he's going to run again.
He barely won it the first time.
Yeah, I mean, he's already old, and then it'll be 4 years from now, and probably just going to want to do what he wants to do. In terms of what Craig was saying, though, I mean, for me, if he started his own political party, I mean, that would be spectacular. I mean, I hope that's what he does.
Right, makes the voting process a little easier. I'm interested.
He splits the Republican Party, and it's pretty much over.
Right. I think for me, for some reason, I had this feeling that his body, not life or death per se, but I feel like that energy that's fueled him, could be wrong, probably wrong, but I just have this gut feeling like it's just going to burn out and he won't have the fire to continue doing what he's doing. But where I do have the question mark, if not a concern, is, his supporters. That energy doesn't fade easily. It won't fade.
Yeah, I can't watch football without
the foundation. It's the foundation of the country. So that energy, where does that go? How does that get resolved? And I'm not looking for us to have an answer. That's just where I have my question marks, and we'll see how the next few weeks go as to whether or not that becomes a concern.
See, where the country's made progress, though, Carlton, is not in, when it comes to racism and that stuff, is in suppressing that energy. It's not in getting rid of it, because that energy is always in the underbelly of America.
Right.
Right. It's like there's people that are arguing like it's better with Trump because at least you get to see how these people think and how they feel, and how they feel. And
that doesn't mean Trump. I want them to be like that without Trump in office, though. I don't need Trump. I don't need somebody that unstable in that position. So I do understand that I need the snakes to show. I don't need a snake in office.
But see, Craig, and that's my point to the people that say that, Craig, because I agree with you. It's like encouraging these people to be so emboldened is not a benefit to society. It is better if they are just like closet racists in their living room saying whatever they want to say than to have them out there on social media planning to lynch Black men during this weekend. Like,
But
how is that better?
I think they're out there planning and collaborating anyway. I think it needs to be put on blast that activity is taking place so that we could address it.
Yeah, but that activity is increased because of Trump, is what I'm saying. That activity,
talk about the activity.
My point, Craig, is that that's always been there, dog. That's always been in America. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? But with Trump, he's like,
there's a reason your mama asked who you going with.
Yeah, it's a raging fire now, dog. It's right. Like the progress that was made in the 60s, that was gained, and all of this stuff, you know, it feels like time has been rolled back somewhat because of Trump and these racist and bigots. Like, there's no other way to put it. And these people are dangerous. I mean, the FBI themselves tell you they're the most dangerous people to this country. It's not Muslim terrorists. It's not China. It's not Russians. It's white people. White people are the most dangerous people in this country right now.
Well, you know, if you look at the fact that the attack occurred at the White House, at the Capitol, I'm sorry, that was planned, that was coordinated. So although
some of our elected officials helped coordinate that.
I mean,
right. And so the chatter, so if you just do the math, right? So without a doubt, we got an increase in chatter. The FBI is telling us that. Whatever the chatter has been, it was bold enough to run up on the Capitol. So I think it's for all of us, regardless of where we live. They've talked about the capital cities in each state, is to remain vigilant. Because it only takes one, whether it's a unit, a force, or one who's just decided today's my day to show out. I think if nothing else, is be vigilant.
But see, Doc, this was not just a riot.
They learned a lesson.
They were trying to. Doc, when they attacked the Capitol building and they're chanting 1776. They're talking about revolution, Carlton, and Craig. They're talking about taking over the country.
And they were talking about taking the vice president's life. They were threatening the vice president's life.
They're not Republicans. They are not Republicans.
People's names were Mustafa and Muhammad and Malik and
lay it down.
Abdul, and these boys were from Saudi Arabia, dog. This would have been like another country trying to take us over. That's exactly what happened here. These boys were
if it was what you said, we would have heard. It would have sounded like fireworks.
It would have sounded like a nuclear bomb. That's what we would have done to their.
They'd have sacrificed them buildings. Be like, all right.
And the point Craig makes is true. I'm talking about, fellas, there's police officers in that crowd. There's military people in that crowd. There's politicians in that crowd, local, state, and federal in that crowd. How can we trust the police when the police act like when they clearly show you that they believe they're above the law? Like, you cannot be a police officer and justify the Capitol. How can you justify that? Your job is to enforce the law. You're clearly breaking a federal law, and you know this. How can we trust the police when you see this kind of behavior?
I think they don't need to defund the police.
They definitely need to reform the police.
What'd you say, Craig?
They did it at the worst possible time. They've lost so much momentum politically that for these snakes to show their head at this time, going forward, I think with this administration coming into office, with House, Senate, all that perfectly aligned, I can't say it faces elimination, but they're gonna take a haircut. Something's happening, right? They raised their head at the wrong time. Some heads gonna get chopped off.
Well, some people going to jail, right? And from what I understand, they're going to.
Obviously.
What I understand is that they're going to be as thorough as they possibly can in investigating what transpired. So, we may have people all the way to the top.
Charges have been filed.
People all the way at the top being brought to justice. Donald Trump has been impeached by the House. Let
me see it on the Senate first.
Not again. Don't forget again, Carl. Impeached again.
Again, right.
Yeah,
So,
but it didn't do anything the first time just being impeached in the House. Like I said, let me see
right,
it in the Senate.
right.
Yeah, it has
Do
to
it
be
in the
convinced.
Senate so I know it's real.
Fair. Touche.
But I also agree with, like, dude, when he
What did it
becomes
stop?
president, they can't just spend their whole day trying to impeach Trump in the Senate. Like, there's things that need to be done for the country. They need to be able to do two things at once. Are they capable of doing two things at once, fellas? I don't know.
When it serves their interest, of course it does. When it hits their pockets, of course it does. Right? Look, but see what we did learn from this. Look how quick they act when you run up on their job. Wow.
They came back.
I mean, I've been
the gavel
look
starts
at their
pounding,
money.
boy. What?
Even the Corona thing, man. Look how much money
ain't
they
rocking
raised.
with dude anymore. Think about that. I think he kind of cut ties with Buddy a long time, and
Who?
I think this was the straw. He's tolerating him now.
Who are you talking about?
45 and Pence. Yeah, I think they stopped. I think they've been fading behind the scenes for a long time, but I think this has to be the. Come on, man. I'm in the building. I'm your boy. I'm in the building. And you just encourage people to come over here. And the people that you encourage to come over here are yelling that they want to kill me.
If I'm Mike Pence, a 4-year farce is a long time. And I done had a fly on my head in front of the whole world standing up for you. And then you ask me to do something that's impossible for me to do. And then you call me out. And then your people who I danced for in this farce, they come into my house looking for my head. I would be through. I would be through.
Fuck Mike Pence, man. Mike Pence made a deal with fucking Donald Trump, and that shit turned on the end for him, because every relationship Trump has sours because you eventually won't do everything that he wants you to do. So I have no sympathy for Mike.
Have you heard Mary Trump speak?
Yes. I still have not read the book. I
haven't read the book.
Have you read the book?
I'm one of them people now. If I can't find the audio version, I might not. I miss being a smart guy that read books, but I might get the synopsis on YouTube. Huh?
And Mary Trump, I'm just telling people, Mary Trump, for those of you that don't know, is Donald Trump's niece, and she is not a big fan of the Donald.
But she's also a psychologist, and she's been, her relationship aside, she's offered some very good insight, also hella funny.
She's explained the man. I feel like listening to her speak, I've not read the book either, but I saw a few interviews. I heard her represent what's in the book and break down what's behind the book. And to me, she explains the man. Now, how far he goes, he still has to be held accountable for being who he is. But, like so many other people, he got daddy issues. And those daddy issues carry forward.
I mean, everything to Trump is about winning, dog. It's about winning. So
that's what daddy told me.
If the cost of winning is inspiring racists and bigots and encouraging them and supporting them, he's all for it. It's all for it. It's all about winning. It doesn't matter what the cost is.
Man, fuck Donald Trump, man. Let's move on.
All right, so on a lighter note, what y'all listen to? What y'all listen to since we last got together?
What?
Mo, you keep it old school. You keep it old school. Still with the cast and the Reasonable Doubt.
No rap, dog. I haven't been listening to rap this week. I don't know why. I've been listening to Anthony Hamilton, man. Anthony Hamilton.
Okay.
R&B.
All right.
I can't find that. I went back to the Carter. I need the Carter. I needed that energy. Like it hit me in the car. It's like, yeah, like I stumbled on it through another playlist with one of the songs on, and I just heard it, and it was all right, whatever. I've been on that for like 3 days, bro.
It's a great album. Love the album.
I'm on a Carter binge. Every time I turn the car on, that's it.
It's a good way to spend your time. It's a good way to spend your time. That was the hottest
Birdman Jr. on that, man. That's what that was an incredible flow.
You know, Lil Wayne had a hot season for a good little while. So
Lil Wayne
you can't go wrong with the Carters.
Is a good, great rapper, even though Lil Wayne.
I like rappers that could give me whole songs with no chorus. I like that. But just be hitting you. The bars are just bam, 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 bam. The punchlines or whatever. I enjoy that.
That Birdman Jr. shit makes me cringe.
What that song?
You didn't like the father-son relationship.
Baby on the lips and talk about that's my.
You don't like the father-son relationship when it's not your daddy.
I don't like the thought of. Yeah, that's weird to me, dog. Like you remember when Lil Wayne was younger and all he used to talk about was Robbie was his dad, like his stepdad, the guy that actually raised him. And then all of a sudden he just stopped mentioning Buddy and started saying Birdman was his dad, and he started kissing him on the lips and trying to convince us that that was somehow normal behavior between father and son. Just weird. It's just strange behavior, man.
I'm not used to seeing it.
It's just not like
touche. All right, well, so I didn't get into too much music. I kind of just vibed with some old school R&B, had some Pebbles and some Johnny Gill going. But I did watch Tenet. Have you all watched Tenet with John David Washington, Denzel's son? Have y'all seen Tenet yet?
I've been
no, I have not.
No,
is it good?
I've been all sports really.
Man, it go deep. It's a modern day Matrix, in my opinion. It's not the Matrix. It doesn't create an alternate world, but it gives an alternate perspective of our world.
Which service is that through?
It's on. You got to rent or buy it, so it's in that what it would have been the DVD phase, because they insisted on being in the theaters, and I know turnout because of the pandemic wasn't expected, and so now it's on video. So I rented it twice, and then I went ahead and bought it because I needed to rewind and go back and forth and figure it out. So it got a 70% on Rotten Tomatoes, so it's not for everybody, but I loved it. I loved
the fact that you enjoyed it enough that you wanted to go back and connect some dots.
Well, you're not gonna get it the first time. You know, the Matrix, I at least thought I had it the first time. I'm still learning stuff about the Matrix, but I knew I didn't have Tenet the first time, so I watched it a second time.
Still learning stuff about the Matrix.
Amen.
The Matrix. That's the point. I enjoy those movies. I notice I gravitate towards certain things. I gravitate towards the Inceptions. I gravitate towards the Usual Suspects. I gravitate towards King. Like there's just and even in television, I gravitate towards things that have the narrator in it, like Wonder Years. Right,
man. I love the Wonder Years, man. I probably get emotional if I hear that song. I love the Wonder Years, man.
I do too. Shout out to I always got a Winnie Cooper.
Oh man,
his little crush on Winnie Cooper, man. We all had a Winnie Cooper.
Had, will, do, whatever. But I love the Wonder Years.
Speaking past tense to protect the present, man.
All right. Well, before we get out of here, man, one thing in the housekeeping, shout out to Dom and Lynette. They we got fans, y'all. So that's who gave me some feedback about our show. And so shout out to the fans. Mo, before we got out, you said you wanted some people, you had some folks that you wanted to acknowledge.
Man, Buddy Craig said Carter. I got a buffoon of the week for y'all, man. And the buffoon of the week is what a clown this dude is, man.
Oh my God.
You know who's getting a presidential pardon from Trump? for his federal
yeah.
gun charge that he was thinking 10 years for. Little fucking Wayne, which explains why he was with Trump in the White House, promoting his bitch ass for president and talking about why he was going to vote for him. It's not because he believes in what Trump is saying. It's because he wants to save his own bitch ass and get this pardon. Fuck Lil Wayne. Like,
the game is the
fuck
game.
Lil Wayne. He is the buffoon of the fucking week. He is a great rapper. We do not take that from him. As a person, he is deplorable. As a person,
I did not know you heard this list,
is
bro.
fucking deplorable.
You said the D. Ooh, you said the D word. Ooh.
He's more than welcome to come on here, and I'll be glad to tell him.
Oh my God.
All right.
You know, there's
irony. I just shout out.
I don't believe you should do, and promoting someone who I feel is a known racist who flames the fans of hatred, to save yourself from something that you legitimately did. That's bullshit to me. So, you know,
so you had the opportunity to do it, you wouldn't do it?
Huh?
So you had the opportunity to do it. You in his situation, you would not do it?
No. You talking about fuck with Trump to get the pardon? No. I wouldn't catch a felony federal charge. I wouldn't have an illegal gun on me if I already was a felon. That's just dumb. Two, you know, I'm a believer, man. If you do that shit and you get caught, you serve your time. Like, it's what it is.
Yo, the other album. Quick side note: there's another album I did catch a little vibe from, but I'm not in a space where it's something I'm gonna go back to. But it was pretty good. Hotels. Jasmine Sullivan. Hotels. Heaux. Hotels.
Jasmine Sullivan, super talented, great singer.
Mm-hmm.
Great.
Yeah, it's a good R&B, but the space I'm in, I'm not going back to that right now. But it was a good project. It's a good storyline, great theme, well put together, all that. But I need something more aggressive right now.
Couple of movies for you fellas if you want to check them out, and to the people too that I will be checking out this week with the wife. Night in Miami, Regina King's directorial debut.
Good reviews. I'm excited about that one.
98% on Rotten Tomato.
Ooh, it beat Tenet. Yeah, it beat Tenet. It's good. I've heard great things.
And Regina King just deserves our love and support in my mind, man. So
Queen Regina King.
Icon.
The other one that I am going to check out, and I hope
she's been around since our Wonder Years,
is the documentary on Dr. King called King in the Wilderness. It's on HBO. Hold on, what is it on? I forget what platform it's on. I definitely will be checking that out. It is a documentary about the last 18 months that he was alive.
Okay. All right. I'm already getting emotional.
I got to shine some positive light too, man, because Carlton told me I got to shine positive light.
Yep.
Positive
light for the world.
I want to shine is on the Capitol police officer, a Black gentleman by the name of Eugene Goodman.
Eugene Goodman. Round of applause.
Goodman is my hero of the week. I don't know, for those of you that don't know this story, there's video of it. When you first see this video, you think that Eugene Goodman is running. You do not realize what he's actually doing. Just briefly, Eugene Goodman sees a mob of domestic terrorists storming the Capitol, and they are chasing him up the steps. When he gets up to the steps, he looks to the left and he sees Mike Pence. And in order to distract the mob, he kind of like inflames them and gets them to follow him in the opposite direction that Pence and some senators were in. And this mob never finds Pence. And the reason why they never find him is because of this one man. Eugene Goodman. He was a Black man, and he basically faced a raging mob with nothing but a baton stick in his hand.
Watching the footage, it felt like a scene fresh out of Hollywood, and I was on the edge of my seat.
I mean, he just
shout out to Eugene Goodman.
Man, you know, everyone in this country throws the word patriot around so loosely. Like those terrorists would tell you they're patriots, but the real patriot is Eugene Goodman. He is a guy that risked his life for the betterment of his country and to save people that were serving office for this country. So
I
just
think patriot
a
has
lot of
become one
respect
of
and
those
props.
terms that if you have to call yourself a patriot, you're probably not. Other people will see it. You know what I mean? I think it's become that.
Mm-hmm. All
Mm-hmm.
right.
But I
Well,
just wanted to
oh,
Shout out to him though, and
shout out to
see
Eugene Goodman.
how he deserves to be called a patriot,
He
right?
was a
He's
patriot.
dedicated.
He to your point, Eugene
Behavior
Goodman had
shows.
a job to serve and protect.
Mm-hmm.
He had no clue what was coming his way, but instead of pretending to be something, he beat it. He was a patriot. He was a police officer. He was a protector. And so
He
we
was a
thank him for that.
true hero. And
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Carlton and Craig will attest to you that I don't throw that word around lightly. So shout outs to
Mild
Eugene,
arm twisting.
my hero of the week.
All right. All right. All right, fellas. Again, happy MLK Day. Dr. Martin Luther King, thank you for everything you did for us. If not for you, we would not be here enjoying ourselves in podcast land. But we here. We thank our friends and fans for participating with us. So much more to do, so much more to say, a lot more episodes to come. And so we will be
1,000.
connecting with you all very, very soon.
Yo, watch them Lakers.
Mm-hmm.
When you see a team that is averaging in the top in team assists and rebounds at about this point in the season, watch the teams that are on top of both of those lists. That's it's good catching up with you fellas.
What you got to say before goodbye, Mo?
Just to our people, man, just be vigilant. To all the people that believe in love and unity and being together, our fight is an everyday struggle and it'll always continue to be, but we'll get there. Just please be safe. I just want you to please be safe. Prayers to Biden and Vice President Harris. I hope their term goes well, and most importantly, I hope they do something for the people, man. Like, we helped to vote them in. We should be just as demanding of them now that they're in office. Like, Doc, that's where we need to take politics now. It's not just good enough to vote anymore. We need, once we vote them in and we give them that power, we need to hold them accountable and make sure they get shit done that is beneficial for us. Like,
don't fuck up like we did in 2010. I got you.
Yeah, like, no, man, like, seriously.
I'm sorry, Carlton was trying to close this out. My
no,
bad,
you're
bro.
good. I agree.
Y'all got
man.
feelings. You got feelings. You express your feelings.
I feel like we fucked up in 2010. We voted that man in office, and his whole thing was, yes, we can. And I felt like a good percentage of the people that voted him in and was like, no, you do it. We just gonna go over here. And we look at what happened in the midterm elections in 2010, right? So yeah, don't screw it up again. And don't just stop after you vote. Hold people accountable, especially local. If you do believe it's a pyramid system, fine. If you want to shake the top, you have to shake the bottom. You know what I'm saying?
I mean, you should just be as interested just as much in your local politics as you are president is. Are you talking about in 2010, you don't think Obama did much?
No, I didn't. That's not what I said.
No, that's what I'm asking.
I'm saying momentum was lost when in the midterm
when they
election,
lost the Senate and shit.
I
got you. Yeah, man. I mean,
pardon my lack of articulation on that, but yeah.
No. That's what I wanted. Yeah, that's what I was asking.
Yeah.
I mean, Craig, people don't realize, man, like that local sheriff you don't vote for, like if he's a racist, that puts your people in a bind. Now, you don't vote for the sheriff, you don't vote for the judge, and they're both racist. What does that do for the people of color in your community? Like, we have to vote on all levels and make sure we are voting for people.
Know their names.
Yeah, know their names, know what they're about, and then
Know their names.
put people in power that are looking out for your best interest. For your best interest.
And funny enough, if people if people know you're looking, like if they, or even if you just create an interest group, right? I mean, there's a community near me that formed an unofficial HOA just so they could be a voting block. And now when they want to get shit done, shit gets done.
I mean,
right?
That's the power of the vote, you know? And when we say like this, we're not just talking about like Black people or Latino people or even people of
interest groups,
socioeconomic status, people of certain class. Like if you're in the lower class, educate yourself and vote in your best interest and stop voting for some goofy ideology or principle that you're holding onto about this is our country. It doesn't make sense. You need to figure out what's best for you in this country and vote like that. And stop voting. You know what I posted on my Instagram today, Craig? I've never seen so many people that make hundreds of dollars so invested in protecting billionaires. It makes no sense. It makes no sense. I make $500 a week, but I'm worried about Donald Trump's tax cuts.
You're right.
It's beyond, it defies.
Align with your interest groups, man. Align with your interest
groups. Make your life better.
And that, ladies and gentlemen, is what we call unsolicited genius. You ain't asked us, but we told you anyway. And so take it for what it's worth. Those are our thoughts. We had a good time, and we look forward to doing it again real soon.
Thank you for listening.
Thank you for listening. Fuck Lil Wayne.